Hello everybody, how are you today? It is Sunday the 12th, let me turn up the volume here. Sunday the 12th of October. I hope you're well. Sorry I haven't been here. It's a couple of weeks. It's been a couple of weeks since I've streamed. Last weekend I was really ill and I've just been really busy. So we're going to continue with 80 Days, the steampunk adaptation of Jules Verne's novel, film, animation, cartoons, everything of 80 Days Around the World. In the last episode, we arrived in New Orleans in America, so we're making a lot of progress. And it was really strange. We met Death in a bar, and I ran away because I think Death kind of liked me. So I hit the road jack. All right. Anyway, where are we? Let's do a word of the day today. So let's get started before we play. Yeah. Look what we're gonna do. Languid. Kind of a good word for a Sunday.
Languid.
Something described as languid shows or has very little energy, force, or activity. We paddled at a languid pace, at languid speed, in no hurry to arrive at our picnic destination. To paddle, kayaking, canoeing. I have to say I'm a very, very languid kayaker, canoeist. I don't know, yeah, I find it quite difficult, that stuff. What else? My cat stretched languidly. Ugh, cats do that a lot, yeah. No hurry, very relaxed, little energy or activity. Quite a good word for a Sunday, I thought. Okay, we're going to New Orleans. Let's have a look. Where is New Orleans? Here we are in the Gulf of Mexico. It's not, Jesus, look at Google, man. Google playing the game, all right. It's not the Gulf of America, it's the Gulf of Mexico. We're near Cuba, Havana, Miami, Cancun, Mexico, and here's New Orleans. Let's have a look. Louisiana, right? And of course, New Orleans is famous for the Mardi Gras. The Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. Mardi, lunes, martes. For the carnival. For carnival, right? Carnival. Goodbye to meat. Because it's the Christian tradition that you have a party and then it's Lent and then you kind of fast. Yeah, you don't eat. Like in Ramadan, no? For Muslims, for Ramadan they fast, so they don't eat during the day, and that used to be the way, or maybe it still is for some people, yeah. Carnivale, goodbye to meat. Carne, meat, vale, Latin for goodbye. Let's jump into the game. Let's find out what the Death wants with me, yeah? Well, we escaped. I hope we escaped anyway. Alright, New Orleans, we have 3,105 pounds. It's 7:32 a.m. Day 66, we've got 80 days. Let's have a look. I think we can do it. Okay, how can we do this? Back. Explore, maybe. No, okay, we're going to take. It's 7 a.m. We can go to Havana. Welcome to Havana. I browsed, I searched, I looked around, my ears open, investigating the various ways in which we might continue. To browse is to look. I go into a bookshop and I browse the book. You might know the word browser. Chrome, Firefox, or my favorite, Brave. Check out Brave, it's really, really good. I browse around, my ears open, investigating the various ways in which we might continue. Okay, I think we can sell something here, yeah? Hang on, let's check this out. $1, for 110. Not bad. Not bad. We need this. America, Atlanta. Ah, yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Atlanta, right? All right. No. Okay. We've got plenty of money. Let's plan. I think what we agreed the last day was that we're going to try and go to Atlanta. Departs in 2 days. I'm quite sure this departure could be adjusted. Merchants in Havana will pay very well indeed for cotton flowers from Atlanta. The Piedmont airline departs in 2 days. Okay, hang on. Where else can we go? 2 days. New York City. Okay. So we have a choice, yeah? We can go... 2 days. We're going to Atlanta, everybody. I think that's what we agreed the last day. $640 for tomorrow. Let's do it. Okay, so this is my boss. This is what's his name? What's his name? I've forgotten his name. Jesus. Nothing to do there. Let's get a hotel, and then we can check out the night in New Orleans. We pass an anxious night with our 80-day deadline looming, getting closer, looming. Every sunset seemed to carry extra weight. We're feeling the stress. We took a room and settled in, so we unpacked our bags, maybe we had dinner, and I intended to Monsieur Fogg, Phileas Fogg, that's his name, of course. I spent a few hours polishing shoes in the lobby. I went to stretch my legs. Let's go and stretch my legs, yeah? Let's go for a walk. You know, if you're traveling or something, and it's like you're sitting in a car or you're in a coach or a bus or something, and then it stops, we often say to stretch. Oh, I want to stretch my legs. I want to go for a walk. We passed an action. We took a room and I went to stretch my legs, only to have someone dip their hand into my pocket. A pickpocket. I did not see the culprit, but my elastic wallet saved the day. The culprit, the thief, the pickpocket. Again, my elastic wallet has saved the day. This is 2 times now, I think, yeah? Ha! Depart. Let's go. Atlanta, Georgia, late September. James Brown. Merchants Havana will pay. No, we're not going to Havana. We're going to Atlanta. It's a bearable experience. It's not going to be too, what would you say? It's not going to be too uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. My students will get that joke. The Piedmont airline from New Orleans was not, in fact, an airline at all, but according to its advertising, the fastest railway in America. Hardly a bold claim. What could be better? Trains, planes, and automobiles. Yeah, trains, definitely. Despite still being halfway around the world, we still had every chance. Despite, for contrast. There's 2 rules with despite. You can use despite or in spite of, and it's contrast, okay? So I can say, despite the bad weather, I went for a walk, which is despite plus noun. weather. Or we can use in spite, despite, verb plus ing, the gerund. Despite feeling tired, I went to the party, you know. So this is the gerund. Despite being halfway around the world, we still had every chance. Converse. Let's have a chat. Greetings, Monsieur le Garde. Tickets, please. Atlanta, Georgia. Did you realize that Atlanta is connected to Miami by rail? Miami? Apparently, collectors in Port Royal will pay extremely well for good false teeth from Miami. But tell me, you seem to be in a terrible hurry. Terrible. Here in Alicante, the weather has been terrible. Cars floating down the roads. It's been raining. It's pouring rain, lashing rain, really hard rain. And there's been lots of flooding. And it's been terrible weather. If we use it as an intensifier, you know. In Alicante in August, it's terribly hot. That restaurant is terribly expensive. And we're in a terrible hurry. Yes! You know what they say, haste makes waste. We want to go to Dakar, Senegal. I don't know, but listen, I hear the Signares of Gorée are formidable women and active in politics. Darjeeling tea. Sounds wonderful. That's a bit strange. Dakar! They say that the Senegalese are growing peanuts now. Nangadef, there's some Wolof for you. Some Wolof, which is the Senegalese language. Dakar to... I don't know. Dakar... I don't know where Porto Novo is. Sounds like Brazil. Porto Novo. Porto Novo. For me that sounds like Brazil, right? Or Portugal, no? Oh. Benin. Ah, West Africa. No, I want to go to New York, and then I want to go to London. What's he talking about? We don't want to go to South America, Venezuela, Timbuktu, Freetown. Here's something I do know. The British Navy's anti-slave squadron is based in Freetown. No. We're going to New York, everybody. New York City. We settled ourselves in a carriage with one other occupant, an extremely large man who introduced himself as Charlie Sullivan, a lad from Birmingham who had grown into something the size of a warehouse building. So Charlie Sullivan is a large man who was the most impressively sculpted, who spoke rather dimly but was quite the Hulk. So he's not the most intelligent person, but he's quite big. With huge tracts of muscle, especially around the neck and the upper arms. His mustaches were nonetheless perfect. I asked where he was going. New York. I was boxing. I'm going home. You fought in a competition? There was an exhibition, he said. I won. Third round, KO, knockout. I gulped. However, Monsieur Fogg's interest had been increasing sharply throughout the conversation. You are trained? He demanded keenly, so he's very interested. Or self-taught? I've got a manager, Sullivan replied. He tells me what to hit. Excellent, excellent, Monsieur Fogg enthused. I want to hear all about it. I could not believe it. I sat back and enjoyed the conversation. The details of boxing are more intricate than one might expect. Yeah, rich people like to see that, don't they? I suppose, if you think about it, like, I suppose there's gambling involved, though, isn't there? There's money involved. I sat back and enjoyed the conversation. The details of boxing are more intricate than one might expect. A ruffian sport for certain. A ruffian, a hooligan. And hearing the business of cut and thrust. A ruffian sport for certain. But with as much finesse and fidelity as, say, the preparation of a good shirt collar. Listen to me, ever the valet. We disembarked. We got off a little later at Atlanta, and I sighed with relief, as though sharing a compartment with Monsieur Sullivan had resulted in less air to breathe for the last few hours. So he's a big, big man. He's breathing in all the air. Lord Cedric could earn us well here. What time is it? It's 9 p.m. so we're going to go get a hotel. We need to make some money. Atlanta, at the very heart of Georgia, is a busy city with construction on every corner. Americans, it seems, do everything by hand. The Civil War had plainly left its mark. I read a book about Atlanta. What was it? It was Tom Wolfe, no? The Bonfire of the Vanities and Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test. He wrote a book about Atlanta. It was really good. Atlanta Politics. Atlanta, at the heart of Georgia, is a very busy city with construction at every corner. The Civil War had plainly left its mark, with bullet-holed bricks commonplace. With the GPO in Dublin. It had been from here that Major General William Tecumseh Sherman had begun his march through enemy territory to the port of Savannah. Savannah, burning and wrecking whatever stood in his ways. Now we know, everybody, Savannah. Savannah was in that game, The Walking Dead, with Clementine, remember? And we were stuck in Savannah in Georgia. Which is a good point for me to just quickly break in here and say, my name is Brian. This is Class A Plus English. It's a very small channel. And what am I doing? I'm an English teacher living in Spain. I live in Alicante. And what I'm doing is I'm playing story-driven games, you know? So we played The Walking Dead, Hercule Poirot, and like this 80 Days. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of trying to explain the vocabulary, the idiomatic expressions, the grammatical structures and stuff, you know? But like kind of like in a bit of a more chilled out way, you know, just through video games. It's a very, very small channel, and it will really, really help me if you like and subscribe. And definitely it will really help me if you subscribe to the channel, okay? So do, if you could find it in the goodness of your heart, my heart's over here, if you could find it in the goodness of your heart and press like, and definitely subscribe if you haven't, I'd really, really, really appreciate it, okay? Alright, that was my message from the channel. Alright, where were we? So yeah, the Civil War. Sherman went through destroying everything. Savannah, which we escaped from in The Walking Dead. But still, I marveled at how the place was healing. I marveled. Oh, it's amazing to heal, to get better. Do you remember during COVID, everyone was saying, nature is healing. There's a, I don't know, a cow in Piccadilly Circus in London or something, yeah? No doubt the rebuilding would take many years. Rebuilding, to rebuild. For example, maybe Palestine and Gaza at the moment. I marveled. We're going to be optimistic. Wow! We may not be much to look at today, Mr. declared Stanley Goodman, owner of Goodmans and Goodmans. And a very good man as well. A curious hardware store. Spanish, ferreteria, where you would buy, I don't know, hammers, nails, stuff like that. A curious hardware store, bakery and bookshop, into which I stopped to buy something for lunch. Sounds kind of Irish, but in a few years' time we'll be state capital, and after that, who knows? Okay, we got 3 choices. And to what do you attribute Atlanta's great success? Why? Why is Atlanta doing so well? You wish to take over the federal government, perhaps? Revolution! We are going around the world! So, when you're traveling like this, it's best to ask questions. Atlanta is the most beautiful city I've ever been to. The food in Atlanta is the best. The women in Atlanta are so beautiful. It always works, trust me. Always say the food is amazing and the ladies are beautiful. Everybody loves that. I won't lie to you, mister. Being burned to the ground helps to put things into perspective. To see things clearly. From here we're building up and together. We're building up, building together. We're rebuilding our city. I was impressed with the ambition. But no man's success is another man's loss. I bought a hammer and a sandwich. I bought a hammer and a sandwich and returned to my master. So it's a hardware shop, a bookshop, and a cafe or something as well. What time is it? 6:45. Let's get out of here. Two days. We're going to New York. Negotiate. We got £2,000. The rate of the cap from our railman set should change their minds. Okay, we can't afford that. Can we? Yeah. Okay. £4, £25, 0. Can we sell anything? £6. Ooh, £3.90. Sell it. Ooh, 2,400 in New York. Okay, what do we got? We got shaving kit. Ah, he's grand. Hooded cloak. Perfect for skulking around. Could be good. Could be good. Alright, let's buy cotton. Gideon's Bible. Let's do it. Let's buy a false passport. How much is that? Right, no, we need to sell that, yeah, in New York. Anything else? 4, 6, 81? No, we just bought that, sorry. Okay. Let's explore. We're going tomorrow, right? Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a drink. I took a few hours to explore, learning possibilities of how we might go forth, how we might go forward. Go forth, young man. Alright, nothing. Hotel. We will pass the night here, says the boss. Another night and the clock was forever ticking. Tick, tock. We got like, what, 10 days? The last few hours of the evening. I polished our shoes and hat brims. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Get out of here. Alright, we don't have many options. New York. Let's go. It looks like a bearable experience, so we're fine. Hang on. The great train stations of the Americas are truly sights to behold. Cathedrals to the majesty of the railways. They're like churches, right? Though I can't help but feel they will soon rot and decay, or they will stand for all time. Well, really, that's the point, isn't it? America is such a... North America, the United States, sorry, South American friends. It's such a huge place that airplanes took over, didn't they? It's the same in China. Seemingly there's like an airport in every city in China because it's so big. It's the only way to travel is by air, you know. So I'm feeling a bit pessimistic. I feel like they will rot and decay and die. The airships, okay, that ply the skies in Europe and the Ottoman Empire, shout out to the Turks, cannot long be kept out of the country, however hard the railroad tycoons lobby to keep the airspace clear. Alright, tycoon would be an extremely successful... In these days, it would have been a businessman, right? Because we're talking about the 1870s, you know. So I'm going to use that. Really, really enormously wealthy and powerful businessmen. Do you know, it's kind of interesting with the Titanic. When the Titanic sank, so many tycoons died. All the tycoons... Seemingly at the time, lots of American industrialists and tycoons were in Europe buying up art and stuff like that. And they were shipping everything back. And they were all on the Titanic because it was like the most luxurious ship, you know, of its age, you know. Seemingly like loads of people died. It's like really, really powerful people died on that ship. Alright. To lobby someone is politics, you know, so you'd have to lobby is to try to persuade a politician to vote one way or the other. Now, I go to a hotel, I walk into the lobby, right? So that's a noun. You go into the lobby and you check in at the Ritz Hotel in Madrid. But to lobby as a verb is to, and often it's money, right? You know, you're giving something to influence often a politician's decision. Alright, so these super rich railroad tycoons are lobbying the politicians to refuse, in this regard, the airships. I asked my master his opinion. I wondered if my master had waited for one more year, how much easier our journey might have been. Alright, so if he had taken the bet, third conditional, if he had taken the bet, the journey would be easier. Second conditional, present conditional, which is what we call a mixed conditional. If he had waited a year in the past, third conditional, now life would be easier. It would be second conditional, which is the present conditional, yeah? Alright. Which is what we call a mixed conditional. So it's either the past conditional and the present, past present, or present past. I wondered if my master had waited for one more year. I thought, how much easier our journey might have been. Perhaps in 10 years the idea of 80 days will seem ludicrous, and people will complete such journeys in a mere fortnight, or even faster. But if they do, what will happen to the joys of travel? Let's break that down. Perhaps, maybe in 10 years, the idea of traveling around the world in 80 days will seem ludicrous, like stupid, crazy. and people will do such journeys in only a fortnight. Now, what is a fortnight? A fortnight is 2 weeks. And I've only recently discovered this. I never actually knew. So let me give you some examples. I'm going to New York in a fortnight. I'm going to New York in 2 weeks. I'm going to New York in a fortnight. I went to Madrid a fortnight ago. I went to Madrid 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to stay in New York. In 2 weeks, I'm going to New York, and I'm going to stay there for a fortnight, for 2 weeks. And well, everyone knows the game, right? The famous fortnight, the game. What does it mean, fortnight? And I never knew, and then I kind of like Googled it. 14 nights, fortnight, 14 nights, 2 weeks. And it's so obvious when you know that. Honestly, I spent so long going, why did they call that fortnight? Anyway, but if they do, what will happen to the joys of travel? First conditional, if they do, what will happen? It's the future conditional. So this is how I always teach the conditionals. The first conditional is the future, the second is the present, and the third is the past. Ignore grammar books. They're not wrong, but they're not right either. Let's have a chat. Let's wait. San Francisco Chinatown riots. We were in San Francisco. Washington, baby. I passed the train journey playing competitive charades. Eavesdropping. Listening to other people's conversations. Secretly listening to other people's conversations. And the third one is hang on, watching the scenery go by, looking out the window and watching the world go by. I'm going to spend it eavesdropping. I'm going to start listening to conversations, hoping to gather information for our next leg, our next part of the journey. Discovering from a nervous American seamstress that the paddle steamers on the Mississippi River are mostly death traps. Seamstress is like she makes clothes or something, yeah? Burlington! Here we are, everyone, the Big Apple. The train pulled into New York with a great issuing of steam that blew up into the darkening skies. We disembarked. Phrasal verb, we got off to the faintest smell, the slight smell of salt air. The sea, the edge of the Atlantic awaited. The Atlantic. I'm so tired of the Mediterranean, everybody. It's only 10 minutes away, but I miss the Atlantic. No, this is not true. The Atlantic is freezing. Surely we could not be far from home now. Some of our possessions could be sold handsomely here. Handsomely. It's the Statue of Liberty. Let's go to the market. Let's sell that. 2,400. We're rich. 3, 9, 23. No. 140. I don't think we need this anymore. Guns, everyone, guns. Apples. A penny black. Oh, yes, a stamp. That was like the first stamp in history, wasn't it? The penny black. So that's worth a lot in Lisbon. What's that? Atlanta. We should always have a gun, right? We got 4 grand. Let's get rid of the hammer and buy the gun. We're in America, right? America! We need guns. Alright, and let's get some apples as well. Alright, it's 5 o'clock in the evening. Phineas Fogg is fantastic. Let's find a hotel. I was pickpocketed in New York. No way. What about my elastic wallet? I trusted to my unstealable wallet. I seized the thief's hand. I waited, intending to pounce upon the departing figure. Alright, so I haven't been pickpocketed. Someone's trying to. I'm going to see New York, man. They're all thieves there, yeah? They're all crooks, criminals, and thieves. Seize the thief's hand. Do it. We got a gun. You tangled with the wrong Frenchman. Sorry. You tangled with the wrong Frenchman, I exclaimed in triumph. You tangled, you messed, yeah? You tried to rob from the wrong person, Buster. You tangled with the wrong Frenchman, I explained in triumph. The little thief looked up at me with thick, lashed eyes. I realized belatedly that the thief was a young girl, barely 10 years old. I released my grip. Oh, God almighty, we're being stereotyped again. I released my grip slightly, and she took the opportunity to curse in a thick Irish accent and bite me. Get the fuck away from me, you fucking asshole, would ya? And she bit me. Ah, man. Typical Irish trying to steal everything, is it? Is that the stereotype? Is she drunk? Is she drunk as well? I held on. I held on despite the inconvenience. Despite plus noun. Despite being inconvenienced. Yeah, despite. And finally she grinned at me, teeth stained with my precious life's blood. Are you done? Are you finished, little vampire? How dare you, little... No, that's an English accent. How dare you, you little madame. Okay, we're going to be nice. She's Irish. Little vampire. Little vampire girl. For now. For now, she muttered. What's to you? I looked down at my bloody arm. Truly, it was a salutary lesson not to let my guard down in strange climes. And this is a very true point, everybody. Always be careful. I should report you, little vampire. Don't steal again. I should report you. Her face seemed to melt. Oh, please, sir, she said in all innocence and politeness. Don't be doing that now. My time with Monsieur Fogg had left me strict. I am a Frenchman at heart. Okay, yeah, the French are cool. I released her. The girl smiled at me somewhat shiftily, paused for a moment, then raced away into the crowd, with regrettably my money still in her fist. Oh, right, so she stole the money. I returned to the hotel. I immediately located a police officer. We don't snitch, everybody. We don't snitch. It's a rule. Never snitch on an Irish person. It's bad luck, okay? So I returned to the hotel. £20 the poor, and with nothing good to say about this foul city of ne'er-do-wells and hoodlums. Yeah, say it. Say Irish, yeah? We know. We read between the lines what they mean. Right. Ne'er-do-wells is never do well. So it's somebody who's always going to be bad. You know what I mean? A ne'er-do-well. You will never do well. You will always be bad. And hoodlums, hooligans, thieves, pickpockets. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly. Alright, what time is it? Explore. Depart where? So we're in New York. We need to get over here in 9 days. Alright, so we need to explore a bit. Depart for where? So close so far. Okay, so let's just go back. We need to walk around the town and meet somebody. Ah! Hey, hey! London. I spent a few hours in exploration discovering the options for how we might continue our journey. $5,300. All right. Bank. We must visit the bank, Monsieur declared. Will you have additional funds? A robbery, Monsieur? You have additional funds? You have more money? I am a gentleman. They would extend me credit if required, he replied. But do you suppose I put my entire fortune into a carpet bag under your supervision? Of course. I regarded the bank as we entered, the manager. Alright, so we're going to get some more money. I looked at the manager of the bank we entered, a well-dressed, calm lady who greeted us with eager professionalism. You wish to withdraw funds, we were told. I warn you, it may take some time. We need £3,000. £3,000, £3,000. So when we talk about in money, it's only for money. Like €1,000 is £1,000. I bought a car for 10 grand. I bought a car for 10,000 euros. I bought a car for 10 grand. It's a 10 grand car, you know. 10 grand becomes an adjective there, yeah. Okay, we require £3,000, I said. The manager drew a sharp breath. I will have to communicate with London first, of course, she apologized. I should have a reply in 3 working days. It seems, Monsieur Fogg remarked, we have some time to dispose of. Return to the bank and collect your funds. Now, I worked this out before. I think in the first time we did the stream, the bet is worth millions, basically. Okay, we've got 3 days in New York. Our room was decent enough, but I was sure I would not sleep. Day 72. We had another 2 days. We kept ourselves occupied with a game of cards and a bottle of gin. As night fell, I washed and hung our linen. I spent a few hours polishing shoes. Let's do this because we didn't do that last time. Earning £108 in fees and tips. Your funds have gone up a fair amount. Relations with Fogg have strengthened. Fogg is grand. Next day. Day 73. Before the night ended, I went to stretch my legs, to go for a walk, and fell into conversation with a somewhat energetic Chinese ragamuffin. Ragamuffin. How would we describe ragamuffin? I could try, but I think I'd be probably wrong, yeah? Hang on. Ragamuffin. I think we did this before. It's in one of the other games. Ragamuffin. A ragged, often disreputable person, especially a poorly clothed, often dirty child, like the Irish that they so typically stereotyped us there, yeah? Ragamuffin.
Ragamuffin.
You often hear it in reggae music as well. Ragamuffin styley. Alright. Alright, so I met a somewhat energetic, probably on drugs, Chinese ragamuffin who had lost a monocle. A monocle is the eyeglass thing, not spectacles, monocle. Who had lost a monocle which I helped to recover, and who then, between fits of cursing, let it slip that the most efficient way to Atlanta is through Washington. Yeah, cheers, mate. I assured him we were unlikely to go that way. I said the same thing once upon a time, and now here I am, he said. He replied. Alright, last day. Can we depart? No. We need to go to the bank. So another night. Bank. Bosh, bosh, bosh. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Another night, another anxious night. We made ourselves comfortable. I buffed and shone my master's pocket watch. You know, the pocket watch. Okay, or I went out to explore. Let's do it. Our last night in New York City, man. And found a somewhat frantic American gentleman who was searching for a dog, which I located lurking, hiding behind a heap of paper near a clockmaker's. The gentleman thanked me, and as we talked remarked that some people can be most rude. I shouldn't have... What? Okay, the game's getting a bit confused. I thanked him, and he laughed and went about his day. Alright, is this it? Alright, we need to wait for the bank to open. Tap the clock. What time does the bank open? Ah, here we go. We returned to the bank at opening time to... What time do they open? Like midday. We returned to the bank at opening time to collect our funds, our money, and then we were ready to proceed once more. Let's get the hell out of here. No. Three days. Tomorrow. 3,000 for tomorrow. Jesus, another day in New York. But they're obsessed with Atlanta. Maybe we could do it, everyone. Our deadline was fast approaching. With that, what remained of the day, I made certain to repack and iron everything. Alright. To ensure everything was in place for our upcoming departure. It's going to be close, everyone. We're cutting it close, yeah? We've got 5 days to traverse the Atlantic in a hot air ship. What? Oh, for God's sake, we're not going to do it. What? Shit, okay. I can't wait for 3 days. It's going to be 78. Can we do it in 2 days? New York. No, no. Alright, we're going to Iceland. I thought they said we could do it. Open luggage. We're going to Reykjavik with all the trolls. No luggage, what the hell is that about? Go meet Bjork. Bjork. Rough skies probably to be wearisome. Okay. We're heading to... The ice wind was a pendulously large Savaka atmotic that wanted to fly 4 or 5 miles high. and had to be hauled down to the docks by a team of 30 to 40 steam winches. It seemed large for a ship traveling. It seemed slow. It seems really big, right? But I was informed by a dockhand that most of the space was for cargo, not people. Indeed, space was at such a premium, passengers were allowed no luggage. I espied the word quarantine on the visa document we had signed. It seemed overly fastidious. I spied quarantine, but I felt there were some important facts we were not being told. But still, we had bought our tickets, signed our visa forms, and discarded our luggage. It was time to go, time to depart. A serious French pirate seized a steamer coast of Honolulu. That was our friends. Day 75. Conditions about the ice wind were comfortable enough for the 30 or so passengers making the trip. We quickly knew everyone by their Christian name, their first name. I set about befriending the crew. Yes, befriend the crew. Particularly intrigued to know what the bulky cargo being shipped was, but I gained no answers that first day. Evening crept in on us slowly as we headed north. Damn it, I thought I had enough money. We have passed the latitude of London, Monsieur Fogg declared, and I wondered if I could detect sadness in his tone. Perhaps he was homesick. When you've been away for a long time, you miss your town, or your country, or your family. Perhaps it seemed unlikely to be homesick. Our journey had been tiring in the extreme, but I did not sense he longed for the quiet life of the Reform Club. I suggested trying to bribe the crew to fly east. I went to talk to the crew about the cargo. What about bribing? To bribe, to give them money, yeah? A worthwhile thing to attempt. I went to befriend the crew, but found they were rather suspicious of me. You don't look like a working type, one woman remarked. She said, you look well-to-do. Well-to-do. I am a valet, like a butler or an assistant, a PA, I suppose you would say today. I've been through more filth and hardship than you might imagine. You have to spit when you say that. She laughed. Well then, what do you need? I explained, and she laughed. This ship is full of cargo, and that cargo has to be delivered. It's worth all our salaries twice over. Perhaps we can pay something towards that? But she shook her heads. Typo. She shook her head. You only have one head, unless she's a multi-headed monster. You've got pluck. You're brave, yeah? But I don't think you realize how valuable what we're carrying is. I returned to Monsieur Fogg. Mission accomplished, and he shrugged. No matter, we are making good time, but I could see the impatience in his eyes. It was day 76. We had barely 100 hours remaining to return home. I'm in roaring health, but we must make haste. The third day was short, and we arrived into the skies above Reykjavik as the sun was gathering across the water. From the rail I could see an endless expanse. Iceland's not that big. More smaller airships bobbing above the docks, bobbing like a little duck in the water. As we landed, I looked back, hoping to catch sight of the mysterious cargo. I stretched my arms wide. I looked back, hoping to catch sight of the mysterious cargo being unloaded. As I watched, the whole nose of the craft was detached, and something was dragged out by a team of steam carts with winches. Guards stood either side, whatever the item was. It was the size of airship itself and covered with a thick tarpaulin, lashed securely with belts and chains. It was hustled onto a wide-gauge train which puffed away to deliver elsewhere. Indeed, a mystery, a puzzle. Now I have to say, there was a typo there saying that the woman shook her heads. This game has been really good. We say a typo, T-Y-P-O, when you spell a word wrong, or like, you know, you add heads instead of heads. It's what we call, when you type it wrongly, I should say there. It's a typo, and there really haven't been that many typos in this game. What was it, Sobrante? There was a couple in that game as well, but it was pretty good, you know? I remember in video games, like, sometimes the spelling would be awful. We will have to explore Reykjavik to find an onward journey. Maybe we can find some Vikings. We have 3 days. Scotland! London! We did it! It was a quiet town with a few inhabitants, but still had the feeling of a bustling centre of commerce. Yeah, probably slavery. The flag of the Kingdom of Denmark fluttered above the trade hall. I was telling some friends in Turkey during the week, I think genetically in Iceland, because Iceland was populated by the Vikings from Denmark, and I think like the genetic population is like 50% Irish, 50% Danish, you know, and yeah, the Irish DNA wouldn't have been voluntary, if you know what I mean. But still had the feeling of a bustling centre of commerce. The flag of the Kingdom of Denmark fluttered above. We did not explore far, however, contenting ourselves to establish the departure times of the airship to London and settling down to a fine meal. Let's get the hell out of here. Tomorrow, 8 AM, take it. £1,000. We're in, everybody. We're going to do it. I'm from here. That's where I'm from. Over here. So, Ennis. Can we stop at Shannon Airport? Alright, one night in Reykjavik. I afforded my master every service. I ran a few errands. I went to explore. Let's just go out. Enjoying the sights and smells of this curious part of the world. It's going to be a hard journey, but we're okay. The Silver Seal was a smaller ship than the Icewind had been, and a Gaelic to boot also. We loaded up. How long will it take? 3 days. Can't be done any faster. 3 days seemed like a very long time, and I could see from Monsieur Fogg's expression that he thought as much as well. Yeah, that's going to make us late. We're going to lose. The ocean tore along beneath us. I enjoyed talking to no one. There was nothing I needed to know. No one to charm, flatter, or beguile into giving us aid. There was only wind and time. Excuse me. Passepartout, my master demanded, make us go faster if you would. We got 2.5 grand. I approached the captain. Faster, you say? You are crazy. We would explode. We want no risk, no danger. Then I promise you we will be in London in 2 more days. Monsieur Fogg looked out of the observation deck windows with perfect calm, though we had only 1 day left to win the wager, the bet, and a day's journey ahead of us. Each passing moment seemed to rake me with fire and anticipation, so I'm getting crazy. I stood upon the deck and willed the Henrietta to go faster. I spent the remaining time watching every possible danger, ironing, embarking on the writing of this encounter. I'm going to write. Well, no, I'm not going to iron. Ironing is the most boring job in the world, as you can often see from my clothes, to be honest with you. Let's start writing. Though I found already the details of our early adventure had grown vague and indistinct. Well, now this journey is proving more draining than I expected. We tethered at the airship dock in Hyde Park and felt for the first time in 80 days the feel of English soil under our shoes. Whoa, we're back in Albion, perfidious Albion. At long last we had returned, and in time to win the wager. How did we do that? Day 80, we're in London. We did it! I seized my master by the collar and threw him into one of the steam carriages idling on the banks of the Serpentine in Hyde Park. "To the Reform Club!" I shouted, throwing £50 at the driver as inducement to speed, telling the driver we were on an urgent business for Her Majesty the Queen, before ejecting the driver from the seat and taking the wheel myself. It's midday, we've got plenty of time. Yeah, he'll know. And you'll have another 50 when we arrive. Now drive! The streets of London seemed quaint and old-fashioned. Quaint, very old-fashioned as well. Comforting and familiar. As they flashed past my well-travelled eyes, the carriages were mostly horse-drawn, and gas lamps rather than electricity lit our way as we raced down Pall Mall. The carriage barely shuddered to a steam-hissing stop before I dragged my master from his seat and up the stairs to the imposing doors of the Reform Club. I released him only when we reached the great saloon, where my master's erstwhile friends, my master's 5 antagonists, no, I don't remember. They had a bet. They're rich English. They're going to be old friends, aren't they? You know what I mean? My master's erstwhile friends stood from their chairs, gaping at an attitude of great shock. Monsieur Fogg only straightened a little and said in his calm voice, "Gentlemen, here I am." The room erupted into cheers. Hurrah! Where had the crowd come from? And I staggered to the nearest chair. To stagger. I'm exhausted. And collapsed heavily into it, my hands shaking. I realized as though a spell had suddenly broken. My master had won his wager, he'd won the bet, or we had succeeded. There is no I in team, everybody. We had done it. And my master had won £20,000. So it's like, I looked this up in the last time we did it. It was something like £1.5–2 million. With the 4,000 we began, the debt built up from banks along the way, and our remaining funds, it was a profit of over 15,000. Hardly a meager sum. So, a shitload of money, basically, yeah? My heart began to beat again, and I saw for the first time the crowds who had forced their way into the club to witness the momentous occasion, this amazing occasion. A journalist in a dark blue bonnet hat caught my eye. "And you must be the loyal valet, passepartout," she said. "How do you know?" "Ah, madame, you have a sharp eye, for indeed I am." "I do not believe we have been introduced." "Oh, passepartout, you old devil." "All of London has been feverishly following Phileas Fogg's progress in the papers." She swept her gaze over me and wrote furiously in her notebook. "Your master will be tomorrow's headlines, or I will eat my hat." It's an old expression, you know, it's like when we're sure something's going to happen. Real Madrid will win the football match, or I will eat my hat. You know, I'll be so surprised. "It's a fine hat." I'm quite overwhelmed. "He will not enjoy the fame." "It's a fine hat, madame." She laughed. "Ha ha 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 ha. Then I will be glad not to have. Then I will be glad not to have to eat it. I pushed my way through Monsieur Fogg, who had nearly been swallowed by congratulatory crowds. "You have won the bet, monsieur," I told him, and seized my master by the hand and shook it, as though saying it aloud once more would make it more real. Now I'm going to shake his hand. We're in a celebratory mood. As though we were two equals, and no, this is the mistake, yeah? Phileas Fogg is a far superior human being because he has more money than I do. So, you know, this is the class system, yeah? This is an error. Okay. As though we were two equals and not merely a master and servant. I'm joking, by the way, yeah? Monsieur Fogg pressed my hand warmly and did not remark even once upon the impropriety of my gesture. So he let it go. He let it slide this time. Indeed, though, his cool gaze did not much so as waver or soften. I believe he welcomed the chance to shake my hand. Well, at least he didn't whip me or something like that, you know? Any gentleman would be fortunate enough to call you his valet, and you have been a worthy companion to me besides, in addition, okay? Besides the piano, he also plays the trombone. Besides German, she also speaks Italian, yeah? It's another way of saying and, in addition. It's not beside. I live beside a chemist, actually. I live beside a chemist, a pharmacy. Next to, but this is besides, alright? And I knew that from there could be no higher praise. Oh my God, he hasn't whipped me. Monsieur Fogg, the blue-bonneted journalist cried, interrupting our conversation. What next for the great adventurer Phileas Fogg and his loyal valet Passepartout? My master looked at me. I returned the glance. I have always wondered what is at the center of the earth. I looked around at faces of the assembled crowd and quirked an eyebrow. Anyone care to make a wager? Anyone want to bet? Monsieur Fogg refrained from rolling his eyes. To roll your eyes. I believe, he said with great deliberation, that tonight I will have supper, dinner, and go to bed. Come, Passepartout, it grows late. Yes, Monsieur Fogg, I said and followed. Your journey round the world is complete. Campeones, with £2,500. Yay! Phileas Fogg returns in the nick of time, yeah, at the last moment. Journey complete in 80 days despite the sheer size of the world and Reykjavik diversion. We visited 18 cities, 24,000 miles, steamships, money, miles by sea, miles by land, miles by air, money spent, zestful, full of energy, passionate, remarkable, comfortable. Alright, nice. Alright. We did it. Okay, so that was the second time. We failed on the first time. We failed the first time. And, hang on, how do I do it? Close that down. We failed the first time with the game, I don't remember. But we did it on the second attempt. So yay, victory to us. High five, everybody. If you enjoyed that, please press like. And if you haven't already, subscribe. It really helps the channel. I'll be back next Sunday with a new game. Not sure at the moment what we're going to play. Probably Hercule Poirot though. Okay, we'll do a bit of detectiving. Yeah? Here comes my cat. Hello, cat. And I'll see you next week. I'm really busy during the week, so I can't do any streams midweek, but we can definitely do one on Sunday, all right? So have a great day. It's about midday here. It's just after 12. It's just after 12 o'clock. It's just after midday. So enjoy Sunday, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and enjoy the weekend, what's left of it, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.